welcome to Radio Hound's Tube Radio Restorations channel. This is John from Indiana, and we're here on our Timeout Tuesday today. Timeout Tuesday, we're taking a break. We just finished with the Heathkit IT12, and we're getting ready to start on the signal generator for the IT8, I think is what it is for Heathkit. And what I'm trying to do is get two pieces of mobile test equipment to take with me, like if I have to go to somebody's house and work on their equipment or something like that. And plus it shows you a little bit about the equipment and helps us both learn a little bit about them too. So that's what we're going to embark on today. But before we start on the SG8, I've had a lot of people ask me about the unit sitting behind me here. The thing that I homemade for all my test equipment. And so I did a little video way back when I first started this, but it had the loud music and stuff, so I'm redoing a little bit of that video. And today I'm just going to go over that cabinet. I'm going to show you some pictures, and hopefully I can do a little voiceover during the pictures I show you, because I didn't do any videos during my build. That was back before I really started this thing. So this is way back in my Facebook days, and I didn't do any videos. So I will try to help you with that too, but I'll try to explain a little bit too on the outside here. But I hope this will help you and help you to grow. I want to help the beginners, and that's my plan. So today we're going to embark on this, and I'm going to first just take you and put you in my hand here, and we're going to go over some of the front of this thing, and then I'll add all those pictures and maybe try to talk about those. All right, I hope you enjoy today, and then we'll start next week on the signal generator. All right, thank you. I hope you enjoy this video today. All right, we're gonna go first and just show you a little bit about my bench. This is my workbench, and I built this maybe 4 or 5 years ago. It's not exactly everything I need, but it was getting close, and so I'm happy with it right now. And when I remodel this room, it'll get all rebuilt again, and I'll probably build a new box. But everybody's been asking about that box right there. But I'm going to go over just a few other things too. When I built this, I built me a real long cabinet. I'm not going to show you off to the right and left because I got stuff piled everywhere. I've got 9 radios I'm working on Facebook right now. And between Facebook and the YouTube, it's more than I can handle almost. But I wanted you to see this part from right here to right here. Now, it's still a little bit dirty because when you work on these old radios, they're full of everything. And even you can blow them out. I blow mine out in the garage, but I mean outside. But, you know, they still carry tons of dirt in with them. And if you've seen the last 4 or 5 radios I've been working on between Facebook and YouTube, they're not in the best of shape. As a matter of fact, they're in the worst of shape. And so they create a lot of dust and debris. All right. So anyway, but what I did is, you know, I'll just go over a little bit here on the front, all the parts. This little panel right here, I get it Hobby Lobby. I get it over in the sewing department, and it works good for the space that I got. You can buy all kind of different sizes of them. You can get them also over in Hobby Lobby in the craft department there, kind of near where the poster board is. There's a different kind, but I noticed these hold up better than those over there. I've tried both, and these are thicker or whatever. I don't know, they're more durable. You can cut on them, you can do anything on them. Yeah, you need to change them out every, once a year or something, but they hold up to, if you drop solder or if you actually solder right on it, it doesn't hurt anything. But they're pretty good. I bought this little edge right here just to keep me protected with my stomach up against it all the time. That's just a stair tread edge. You get them at Lowe's. Anyway, that's that. I bought this power bar that goes on the front of it here, and I bought 4 or 5 when I did, but because I use them in my garage too. But I think I got one more smaller one back there, and I got one big one back in there. But anyway, they're like, well, at the time I bought them, they were like $30, 29 something, and you can get that, and it works good. A lot of people put their power bar right here on the front, but then you got them cords hanging out right in your stomach, and I didn't like that, so I put it up there. It's just easier for me. I like it better that way. All right, and then when I built this box originally, my Fluke multimeter is sitting right there, set right in that hole. And the problem I got with that, and of course I stored all my little meters up top there. But the problem I have with that is when you got a chassis sitting here on the table, then you can't see your multimeter because it's blocking the chassis, blocking your view. So I built that little side piece right there, and that way I can have my chassis here and be looking at my meter over here. The only thing, it's not great for YouTube videos because you have to keep moving your camera over, but I'll figure that out too. I'm when I rebuild this, these are all the things I'm thinking about. Okay, but next time I build this thing, I'm going to have an empty spot here in the middle because you got chassis right sitting right here. So I'm going to have all my stuff that I do right here off to one side or the other. And so hopefully that'll help you. Anyway, how I designed this thing, and it's nothing major, it's just in my head. Well, I'm gonna first tell you how I got to the design. When I was learning how to do radios and stuff, I was watching, and there's a guy, I don't know his real name, but it's Mcalderia, Mcalderia, and I'll tell you where his expertise is for a beginner is. If you go back through a lot of his stuff, he does all these foreign radios because he lives over in an island there, and I never can remember what island, but it's over kind of near Italy or somewhere like that. But Madura, that's where it is. He's in Madura, I think, and I don't know exactly where that's at because I've never Googled that. But he speaks good English, very good English, so he's very easy to understand. He is one of the most awesome teachers, and he works on all the European type radios. He don't work on too many radios like we work on, but he teaches how flow goes through on these schematics. Like he teaches you how AM flow goes through, FM flow goes through, and he teaches it in such a way that it's kind of like when John was teaching his schematic series on John from Arkansas, how he taught his schematics. It was real simplified and easy. And yeah, sometimes he gets a little technical, but most of the time on those parts, when you see him pull a schematic out, he will take you through that schematic and show you exactly what's happening. He will explain why it's happening, and so M. Calderia is who I was watching, and like I say, it's Mcalderia, and but he taught me so much. Now while he was doing that, he also has where he's connected into these circuit boards where he designs new circuit boards to help you with these radio repair business. And he's got some pretty cool ones too, but I don't do anything with solid state. But he's very good at that too. But he designs that, and he actually puts them up there for free for you to buy. I mean, you got to pay the company that pay him for the circuit board, but for his part, he puts them up there where you can get your hands on them. So if you got he makes little things that do little things for you that might help you in your radio business. I think he made a Bluetooth module and stuff like that. So. But I'm getting off subject. He made these little boxes, and these little boxes fit underneath his counter. He had a counter, and they hung underneath the counter, and they did all the stuff that this does. Okay, and so old John, buddy, and maybe someday I'll pop that on. I might even pop some of that on here, but he built these little boxes. These little box was. It looked like a long row after he got done, but he had a show on each one of these boxes he built, and each one did stuff. Like one did attenuating, one did, but all of it did different things. He had his little dim bulb tester, and just a bunch of different things that he had. Matter of fact, the design for the dim bulb tester came from him, as far as the one I've got here. But I built all those little boxes. I built a lot of them. And my problem was, I don't know, it just was very inconvenient the way that thing was laid out for me. And I got to thinking, when I was young, I liked all these science fiction things like Star Trek and all them. And so I wanted to build something that looks like space age that you're going to sit here and run your ship from here. But I also wanted to think about it to being real handy and convenient, where you don't have to reach around, grab something, pull something up. You don't have to find, where's my signal generator? Like right there, that's the one we're getting ready to do next. That's the is that SG8? I think it is. But anyway, I got my hands on that, and it's really, really in good shape, so we probably won't have to do much with this one. Yeah, it's SG8. I was looking for that model number. But that's what we're going to be doing on the next one. But anyway, I built all those little boxes. I didn't like them. I mean, they work good. I just didn't like the design of it. So, and plus, it puts you into a little bit more of the... He still did it point to point, but it put me into using a lot of the newer stuff. I wanted to have all mine set up with all the old equipment in there. Okay, so bottom line, I decided I'm going to design my own box that kind of looks like I'm in Star Trek and I'm running the Starship Enterprise, and so here it is. All right, and so I designed mine to where all my first part of testing is on my left side. I have it where when I first hook up a radio and I want to find out if we did all the things right on our radio, and we're going to test it and make sure it works, it's over here, and this is my dividing line. Everything's over here left. Now when I do the second part test, I got my radio working now. Now my second part of testing I had over here on the right. All right, and I'm still probably going to keep that concept because that seemed to work pretty good. I just worked my way across this thing. All right, so the first thing that I put in there, and the first thing that you need to put in any design that you have. And if you want to do this, this is fine. If you don't, you can have all the equipment sitting here and it doesn't hurt a thing. This is just for me. So I like it. All right. So anyway, the first thing I put in there was my isolation transformer. And I do have somewhere, there's a video on the isolation transformer, and you can look that up, but I think it's one of the older ones too, so one of these days I'll redo that too. Isolation transformer, basically it protects you. The isolation transformer, unless you're touching two things inside your radio with two hands, that's why they tell you to put one hand in the pocket. But if you're touching just one hand, your chance of shock is reduced a lot with that isolation transformer, because it isolates you from the ground. There's some of the newer isolation transformers. You say, I'm going to go out and buy me a brand new one. Some of them are already grounded on the secondary side, so that doesn't help you a bit. So you have to still be careful on those because it's a false sense of security. But anyway, they're behind there, and you'll see that in the pictures. There's an isolation transformer sitting behind this wall. All right, that's the first thing in line from the wall. All right, then the second thing that I bought me a Variac, and I had that Variac sitting on my bench, I don't know how many years, I had them sitting there, and it's one of them bright red ones, standard Variac. They're getting kind of expensive nowadays too, but yeah, I was looking at some of this old test equipment, man, some of this stuff is getting outrageous. But anyway, on the Variac, this is a standard one. I can go from zero volts all the way up to my full voltage and a little bit above. Okay, and I just threw where my voltage showed up out here. I threw some numbers on here. Now these numbers that I put on here was the worst idea. I ended up buying. I don't know why I did, not on purpose. Sparkly numbers. I didn't know they were sparkly letters and numbers, but I went ahead and kept them because I didn't want to go back to the store. But they don't stick very well, and if you clean that front end, like I just cleaned for this video, if you clean that, the stuff's just going to fall right off. And so I've lost a lot. Like that's supposed to say Variac, and that says Viac, and so there's a bunch of things like that. But for me, I know where everything's at now, so I don't really need that. All right, so that's the next thing in line, and Variac basically just takes you from 0 volts up, and that way you can put a little bit of voltage in at a time, and you're not just slamming all that full 120 volts. This little meter I put in up here, I tied it into the front end of that because that just tells me my house voltage. That tells me my voltage right at the beginning before we take off into this box right here. And that way I have a reference point when I'm putting my voltage, because this is my other meter over here, and this has my volts and my amps that I'm rolling in through this thing. All right. But anyway, I can match my voltage here to my voltage there, make sure, that like if I want to see what my information is going to be, if I match the house voltage, because that's what you're really going to get when you plug this radio in, if you plug it in without any kind of this test equipment. So you want to see what kind of other numbers you're getting if you actually just straight plug that thing into the wall. And that's why I like the house voltage over there, kind of see what my house is providing today. And it changes all the time. You can watch it changing while you're using this dumb thing, okay? I leave a lot of these switches are just switches to power each section on. I leave them all on right now, but this would power this front, and then this would power the dim bulb tester section. So you can throw switches in there if you want in between. But I just realized I don't have a light on. That might help. Sorry, guys. Anyway, those little switches you can put in if you want. I put a switch in for each segment, but I leave them on. I end up not using them at all, and I leave them on all the time. So, all right. So the next section, after you get out of the Variac, you got to go into your dim bulb tester. Okay, and you got your dim bulb tester right here. I put in the version that M. Calderia put in. There'll be a picture in there that'll have that schematic. Now that schematic shows at the 230 volts because he's overseas, so it's 230. But it's exactly the same design. It's just ours is 120. So 110, so whatever we're running at the time, but most time it's 120, 125 right now. All right, so bottom line is, though, you got 4 bulbs. I have a 4060, 4060, and these are all incandescent bulbs. You can't even hardly get them anymore. Last time I found some, I bought them all, because I want to have all kind of backup. So I got a whole cabinet full of these things out there, but you really need that for the dim bulb tester. And this way I can roll in 40 volts, or I can roll in 100 volts, or I can, put 140 volts, or I can take that one out and put 80 volts. I can put any kind of combination I want. Now, on the other side, if you get where your machine's running fine, the least amount of light bulbs is the most protection you're going to have. So when I first start, I turn all these off, and I have just the 40 volts to start out with. That gives you the best protection. When you're first starting out on a radio, you don't know how it's going to react. And then if it reacts okay, because if it's reacting bad at 40 volts, this first bulb was going to turn up bright as can be, okay? But anyway, if it turns out good and everything's working good, then you can add one more bulb. And of course, you're adding voltage over here a little bit at the same time. So you're slowly watching. Now, you've seen me do that on a few videos now. All right, and while you're doing that, you're looking over here, and you're looking up here at this meter. The top meter is volts that you're producing out of here, and the option of using these two together, that's what volts you're going to get. And right below it, you'll see the amps. And on a good just rule of thumb, and this is not across the board, because there's some radios that will provide a lot of voltage and a lot of amps, but on most radios, like just the standard radios, tabletop radios, and most of the consoles, unless you get up in the 15 tube range, you're going to have probably under 1 amp of amps. And so you can't see it probably in this camera, but there's a little decimal right here. It has one number in front, decimal, and then 2 digits after the decimal. But most time you'll stay on that right side. It'll be like, most average radios, just little tabletop radios, and that kind of, it's going to be 0.45, 0.50, 0.6, but they're not going to be up there. Now, if you get some that has a 9, 10, 11, 9, 10, 12 tubes, they might get up closer to the 1 amp. But that's why I put 1.5 amp fuses in most of the radios, unless I know it's going to be a radio that goes over that 1 amp. Then I might put a little bit larger fuse in. In the process of this, that plug gets plugged in, but it's after all that stuff right there. So this is where you're finally plugging your piece of equipment in there, okay? The dim bulb tester is going to protect you and your piece of equipment. But the isolation transformer is more, the main reason for that is, to protect you, the worker working on this. Now, this is more to protect the piece of equipment. It leans to that side of the puzzle, because you don't want to shove a whole bunch of amps into a radio that's got a big short in it. All right. And therefore, that's one of the things that, wanted to bring out here, that what each piece of equipment is kind of doing. This is helping you. The isolation transformer that's sitting behind that wall, you'll see pictures of it. And then the dim bulb tester is protecting your radio. It still has some protection for you too, though. All right, then if you feel like everything's good right to here, then you can flip this override, and that overrides all this electric over here, and it just makes it where your power goes straight from the source over to your piece of equipment. Now you're running straight power as if you plugged it in, except you're going to have your variac, whatever you got that set at. It's not going to be straight line power. It's going to be whatever the variac is. And so if you set it at 115 volts, 118 volts, that's what you're going to get right there. But you're going to be totally, I don't flip that until I feel totally comfortable that I'm not going to have a dead short in my radio and I'm not going to burn something up. Down here, I have a watt meter, and the watt meter will tell you how many watts you're pulling on that radio. And so that watt meter will, most of these that you buy, now I ain't gonna lie to you, I bought probably a lot of these overseas type of things. You can buy high quality ones that probably get picked down to very low, but mine don't kick on for a while. You have to get up there a little bit before you start seeing your watts pop on down here. But and there was a guy, I'm not a theory guy. I love theory. I just not a teacher of theory. But there was a guy that explained to me why this was, and he even explained it in our comments section somewhere on one of my videos. But it's just stuff I don't really care. All I care about is, to me, for a beginner, just knowing that whatever amps you got here, your watts are going to be pretty close to it. So if you have 0.30 amps here and you got 0.90 watts here, you got something wrong. And to me, that's what you need to know. I mean, yeah, if you want to take the time and know why, that's fine. And I'm not putting anybody down that does that. I'm not. I swear I'm not. But I do want, I do want you to understand just that basic concept. Those two should follow each other. Now, they're not going to be exact. They're going to be, but they, if you're in the 40s up here, you're going to be somewhere in the 40s right there, usually. And if not, then you need to go maybe explore a little bit. What is creating the high wattage that you're getting? There's something not connected right, and it's getting hot. And so what I do when I see that is I'll pull my radio chassis here in front of me, and I'll get my my little thermal meter, and I'll go through and find out where are my hot spots at, because that's where you're going to be suspect at. All right, before I leave this little section right here, these little ceramic things, I of course use this little piece of sheet metal right there. These little ceramic things you can get at Lowe's. I think they're about $4 a piece. Good luck on trying to find these kind of bulbs, but there's still a bunch of them out there. Just get you some before they're all gone. But these right here, I get at Lowe's, and it's just a little electrical connector, and these are made out of ceramic, and they hold up real well. Switches and all these meters I get online. Just, it's aftermarket stuff you can get overseas, and I'm trying not to be mean, but that's where you get them. I stuck this little magnetic bar up here. I love it because I can just throw my parts or my tools up and down up there. Then on this side, this is when you start doing your testing. Okay, you got it up and running. It's running good. Now we're going to start making sure we're going to get a radio. Okay, and so I don't use it yet, but I made a little spot in here. Let me get my lighting in there. I made a little spot in here for an AM transmitter. If I've made a little, you'll see it in the pictures. I made a little crystal one, but it don't work good. I ain't gonna lie to you. It don't work very good at all. But when I had that on and whatever, I would have a little light shine up there, and it would tell me my AM transmitter was on. And I'll be honest with you, this was an auxiliary thing, and I can't remember what I put that all in there for, but it really don't matter. I don't ever use it, so I'll have to figure that out one of these days when I take it apart, what I was thinking. I got my AM FM antenna. My FM I got ran up through a it's running across the top right there at the dipole antenna going through there. If I ever want to test an FM radio, I hate it working on FM. I usually shy away from people that have radios that have the FM in it. I ain't gonna lie to you. And I also I'm telling everybody right up front, I'm not a phonograph guy either. Now you may see me do one phonograph on this channel, and if I do, it's because it's my cousin gifted me a really nice Columbia Graphonola, and it's a family thing, and I would like to get that redone. So when I do that, I may do that on his channel, but I don't like messing with the phonographs because they are hard to deal with, the needle parts and getting everything you need for that. And to be honest with you, it's just something I don't enjoy doing. So I probably won't ever mess with any phonographs, and I don't take on customer radios. If I do, I only tell them I'm doing a radio, not the phonograph. They'll have to get the phonograph done somewhere else. So a lot of times I'll tell them, I don't want to do the phonograph part. That's up to you. There's nothing wrong with doing a phonograph. It's just going to take you a little bit of work and research on it. A lot of that is mechanical, and you have to get all those little gears taken apart and cleaned, and there's a lot of stuff to it. And it's just not something I want to invest my time in. I want to invest my time in getting these old AM radios going. The other one is my AM antenna. That antenna runs up, I think I've mentioned a few times, but it runs up my wall. You can barely see it because I painted the wall and I painted the wire. But it goes up through my ceiling, and I ran it through my attic. And one of these days I promised you guys that I would show you how that goes back and forth up in there. I'm not going to take you in my attic, but I'll kind of draw a picture of it. And then I went out the gable end of my roof on the other end, and I put 125 feet of wire. And then on the other end, when it goes out the gable end, I used to have a satellite dish out there, and I took all that off except for the bracket, and I mounted myself a CB antenna out there on the end of that satellite bracket, and I hooked the end of that long wire on that CB antenna. And for what I do for testing, it does great. Now I tried another antenna, and it's going out that window right there, and there's another tower at the other end of the house, but it had one of those I can't remember what kind of antenna that's called, but it's electrified up there, and it's supposed to be great and whatever. I can't get it to work right, so everything I hooked to, I got ground hum on it, and I'm not quite sure why, because I followed all the rules on it, but it's one of them new modern ones. And so someday maybe I'll figure that out and have that backup antenna. If not, I am still not super pleased with my antenna setup, and I'm going to redo it one day and try to make it a little bit better, where I get a little bit more reception. Because our problem is we had 3 radio stations right close to us, and all 3 of them shut down this year. It's kind of sad to watch that happen, but sure enough, they did. All right, let me get back on subject. All right, this is my signal tracer, and my signal tracer comes out this hole, and it's called a racer now because I lost my T. But anyway, the signal tracer, and you'll see it in the video, or not the video, but the photos. And my signal tracer sits right here, and I just flip my switch on right there, and I can trace anything I want. This is an awesome signal tracer, and I've used it a lot of years, and it's helped me fix a lot of radios. All right, so these are my antennas. I said that was AM. I'm sorry. This is the F. I said that was FM, but this is the FM right here, the 2 sides of the FM. Sorry about that. And then over here, I forgot to talk about this too. I have a ground connection right here, and that's literally earth ground. That I drove a rod about 4 feet into the ground right outside that window, and that goes out through that window and grounds me out. So if I need a ground on any of the radios I'm working on, that's that. Okay. The next thing is these speakers. I put in a 4 ohm speaker, and I put an 8 ohm speaker. Got my 4 ohm and my 8 ohm, and I did have numbers up. Yeah, I got one right there. That shows it's 8 ohm, and there was a 4 there. But anyway, I have the 2 speakers, and the reason I have that, I have this connection right here where you can connect the speaker, and that way sometimes you get in these situations where you don't want to take the speaker out of the cabinet. It's out in the garage. You don't want to take it out because it might damage some. It's a hassle or whatever, and you just want to quick test on something. You can connect to these connections. I got a pile of wires back here. I'm sorry. But I put this little gadget on there. This looks really generic, but it worked for me. It has every kind of connector on the end of it. It has that kind of connector, and then my regular speaker connector on the end of it. So I'm set up for about anything I want to connect to, and it works for me really good. And sometimes when you're doing that, because these are permanent magnet speakers, you got to have a field coil. Okay, well, I built a combination field coil in the back there, and it just gives you some pretty rough average numbers that you have. And I've got that sitting over here where you can run that one side through the field coil and then come back into your speaker, and that way it'll give you that voltage step down that you need, so it'll replace the field coil that's on the speaker that you're using. And there's a whole, and I don't know if I got that schematic in there, but a schematic on where you can take a bunch of resistors and you can either put them in like where you can flip them between parallel or in series or whatever to give you different ohms that you need. But that helps you get through that. And then there's switching, of course, to flip between your 4 and your 8 ohm speaker. And then you can also flip to a speaker and a dummy. So, because sometimes you don't want to hear the noises, you want to see the noises on the oscilloscope. So, and I used to have a connection for you to run your oscilloscope through here, and I have disconnected that, and that was up in there because it just did not work right. And I didn't want to do anything back there that would damage my new oscilloscope up here. And that's another piece of this. I'm into the I don't know if I'll say this name right, but I'm into the Regal, and there might be a different name, but I like this oscilloscope. It's real simple for me because I don't know how to use oscilloscopes that well. But this one is real simplified, and it has a lot of things that it does that I don't even know. Same way I bought the signal generator. That's the oscilloscope, and this is a signal generator, and it was all during this period of time when these came out. These were partners, and they worked together, and so I use these two on about every radio I do. Okay, and I set them up on top because they're my primary. I had my TV up here. This TV went non-functional on me, but I loved it because for an old guy, I have a little iPad. Well, it's buried now. I probably put it away, but it connected to that TV, and I could through HDMI, and I could pull up my schematics on that little iPad over there, and I could see my schematics a lot better up on that screen. And I did even have a bigger one. At one time, I had like a 50-inch screen up, but not in that corner. When I moved to the corner, I had to go smaller. But something happened to that TV. Someday I'm going to get that set back up where my old eyes can see these schematics better. Right now, I'm using the favorite. I'm using that, and that's probably not the best way in the world. But when you get old, your stuff just don't work right. That is pretty much the front side of this box, I believe. I don't know. These speakers I got, I scavenged them out of stuff that I had. So I think that one's like a car speaker. I don't know. But bottom line is it works great. And when I do use those speakers, they work good. And a couple little pieces of equipment. This was gifted to me, the Highawk right there. And then, of course, there's our Heathkit we just finished. And then there's another one. I did some work for that. I think that's a BK Precision. And this is, where you want to do those other alignments. You can use that kind of stuff too, but I don't. Then this guy right here was gifted to me from my friend that did radios alongside of me. He lived in this area, and then he moved and opened a restaurant and guest house over in Thailand, and he's over there right now, and his little business is doing great. But anyway, this helps you do the old battery radios. The problem is I can't use that one yet because that one has some issues with it, and I need to figure them out. And so I'm gonna redo that one day too. I don't know if I can even find a schematic on that, but I will try. If not, it should be a pretty simple in there. It's just voltage dividing all over the place. Of course, I did a whole video or two on this. That's my tube tester on that side. I'm trying to think, is there anything else you guys need to know on this part? All right, so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to tack on a bunch of pictures of the build. You'll see me making this, and hopefully it'll allow me to do voiceover. I've never used voiceover on this new editing program. So if I can figure out voiceover, if not, it's just going to be some pictures, and you can kind of decipher yourself what's going on there. And we'll finish the video at that. This video might not be that long today. And that being said, I'll probably throw a little bit of videos of my outside summer stuff on my deck, just kind of updating you on what's going on out there. Just I noticed that John, when he did his videos, he always had a mishmash, I think is what he called it. And he that's why, to be honest with you, that's why I made the timeout Tuesday, because sometimes you just need a 5-minute break from working on radios. Say, okay, just this is something cool to look at. And he would take you out in his garden, or he was building a new garage, new work spot for his radios. And of course, he had an old Thunderbird that he was restoring too. And but he would always take you on a few minutes of out looking around at his other stuff too. And it just made you relax a little bit. So, okay, then we'll get back on radios, But I may do that at the end of this too, because I've been doing some work outside, and hopefully you can see some of the cool things we got going on out there. I've told you before, my little backyard is my oasis, because we don't ever get to go anywhere, and so we just keep adding to it. We keep throwing money at it, and keep making it better. Every time we look at it, there's something better, and every year we add to it. I don't know what else I'm going to do this year. Of course, we did the fence this year, but we might do even a few other things, so we'll just have to wait and see. All right, guys, this next section is just going to be a bunch of pictures. I'm going to try to do it in order from when I started on it to when it got completed. And I hope you enjoyed this. I hope once you see the back, you'll see how it's all kind of put together back there. And it's more simple than what you're thinking. There is one little circuit board in there, and that was for the AM transmitter. Has a crystal on it, I believe. And that being said, though, I don't think there's any other circuit boards in it. There's a board in there for the coil system, for the resistors that does that for the coils. But other than that, and I think some of that resistor board is for where you make for your dummy speakers. And that way you can put either a 4 ohm or 8 ohm. So they do that also in the parallel and the series type of thing. So where you can switch in and out between the 4 ohm and 8 ohm. All right. I hope you enjoyed this so far, and we'll continue on here shortly. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed that. It looks like we figured it out. So it's not the best quality of instruction because I'd rather have a video showing me how I did it, showing you how I did it. But right now, at least it answers maybe a few questions for some of those guys asking. Please tell everybody about this channel, and if you're one of those who, I know I used to do it on a lot of videos. I sit and watch in and learn stuff, but I never would hit that subscribe button. It doesn't hurt you a bit. You're not going to get inundated with stuff. You know, it helps the channel, it helps us grow, and just hit the subscribe button if you're one of those that just watch and don't subscribe. It don't cost you anything to do that, and I appreciate if you would just do that and help yourself and help me. That would help this channel grow, it would help all the other people watching. I'm trying to, you know, my goal right now is to try to get over 1,000 subscribers, and we're I don't know, we're 750 or something like that right now. So we're getting real close, and we'll hit it before next month or two. We'll probably hit the 1,000, but you know, just do whatever you can to try to help us reach that. I appreciate it, and I'm going to celebrate that as my first victory to make 1,000 subscribers. And that means there's 1,000 people out there, and I know probably half of them already know more than I do, but that other half, you know, I'm doing something to help them, because every time they watch a video they're learning something if they're new, and that's what this channel is all about for the beginner. All right, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you tell everybody. Bye-bye. Hey guys, I'd show you just a little ending to my video today. Is just we got a lot of the patio set up for our summer fun, and as you can see, I even got a fire going tonight. But getting all ready for the grandkids coming in, and my wife, she loves planting flowers. She's got 2 big clematises down there, and then she planted this rose last year. It's just a climbing rose, and it wasn't more than 1.5 feet tall when we planted it last year, and now it's all the way up and halfway over the top of our gazebo. I can't believe how big that thing's grown. Yeah. That thing's huge. But of course, then you see our new fence down through there. That's the fence I showed you guys. And then I'm cooking tonight. I am the chef. Yes, I am. And got a couple steaks going on the grill right now. We got the pool up and going, got it all vacuumed out and ready to go, but it was too cold to swim. It's still only 73 degrees in that water, and for my old butt, ain't going in there at 73 degrees. That's the other fence we put down the other side. The shore looks a lot better. And I still got a lot of little projects going on. I don't want to turn this into a home renovation channel, but I just share it with you, my life. I'm going to build a little thing right here on the side where I can drive my mower straight. And right now my mower's over in that corner underneath tarps. But I'm going to have just like a little lean-to on the side of this. Not too wide, just wide enough to get the mower in and the push mower. And that way I can drive straight in that new gate my son made me. And we can drive right into that lean-to. But the other good part about that is, see, the pool's right there. And on the outside of that lean-to, I'm going to put an outdoor projector where you can sit in the pool and watch a movie up on that gable end of that wall. That's going to be something done. My wife has got these rocks laid out here because we got a fountain that's going in this right here, and that rocks is going to be in the bottom of that, but they were all dusty, and so we had to lay them out here to spray power wash them. But we're going to put them down in that bowl, and then this floating fountain goes in there, and that'll keep that well, probably keep those plants watered in, and hopefully it'll keep most of the water in there for the fountain to work. All right, I just wanted to share it with you, like say 5 minutes. My wife does those lanterns, and she redecorates them in different seasons and stuff, and she always fixes those up. This thing is beautiful at night. Maybe I'll try to tack that on the end of this, come back out here tonight and show you how it looks at night with the lights on and everything. All right, enjoy your evening. I told you I'd bring you out here at nighttime and show you what our little patio looks like at night. Got a lot of A lot of lighting underneath the gazebo area, which makes it look really cool. I got lighting over there over the deck on the top, and then, you know, we got a lot of solar type lights all the way through the patio. Anyway, just thought I'd add that on here at the end and let you see some of the cool things. This is a very, very relaxing place here. All right, you guys have a good day. Thank you guys for watching.